Hi, this is a tutorial for Git and Git extensions. And we'll go over some of the basics and understanding about Git and Git extensions, and then we'll cover the Git extensions setup, installation, and configuration, and so we can kind of get going with Git extensions. So let's get to it. So what is Git? So Git is an open source version control system. Another way to say that it's a way to version our source code, or technically you could version any kind of file, including text files or other files. So sometimes Git can also be used in other industries. Doesn't have to be used in software engineering, but it is mostly used in software engineering. It's one of the most popular software engineering software versioning system controls that's currently used. And of course, there are different vendors that support Git, including GitHub, really popular for open source projects. Microsoft has provides Git repositories as well as Bitbucket. And some of these vendors actually have free versions that you can sign up and use. And Git by itself it has been built as a command line utility. And it's really fast and it has a lot of features. But Git by itself was built as a command line utility. Now, what is Git extensions? So Git extensions is another open source project for providing the user interface for Git. It's called Git client. It's built on top of Git command line utility to kind of allow you visually to do things with Git. Of course, there are other version control systems, including, client Git clients, including the ones that are built into software tools such as Visual Studio or Visual Studio Code have built-in Git clients. However, for the most part, they have basic features, and if you want something more extensive, more flexible, I recommend using Git extensions to manage, to do all of your Git interfacing and managing your Git repositories. And again, Git extensions is more flexible, has more features. So now let's actually. So to install Git and Git extensions, first I guess go to the Git website and download the version for your system here. In our case, it's Windows, and go ahead and install it. Same thing for Git extensions website here, and download and install Git extensions. And this kind of the screenshot of what it looks like. So now I have installed and my Git extensions is open. You will need to install a couple other things. One thing I recommend is called kdiff 3 here. Go ahead and download this and install it as well. And I'll show you in a minute why we need that. So basically, once you install and open this, you'll go into the settings and you want to make sure most of these are passing, meaning it's green. In this case, it's like Linux. Since my system is Windows, I don't need to fix this. But everything else should be green. So let's kind of quickly touch on different things. And if you click on it or double click on it, it'll take you to a specific place. Since I've installed Git and Git is part of my Windows path, I guess I'll need to browse to the Git exe. But in your case, if it's still having issues, go ahead and browse to the Git exe file that you installed. Again, this is this Git version, right? This is the actual utility, Git utility. And then go back to your settings again. Do this as many times as needed to make sure that everything is installed properly. And let's see, what is that settings menu? Okay. So basically, if you click on the top of the menu here. I'll show you that settings page. Again, Git is, I just showed you where it needs to be green as soon as it knows the version installed. It'll kind of mark the version. Username, email is gonna be what's being used to commit your message to commits on Git. So we'll go over committing as well, but for now, just put a username here, your information. The other thing you'll notice is that in here, the kdiff part, it'll take you to that same page. Actually, this somehow double click here doesn't work, but it's okay. Come here on the config. You want to select the merge tool to be kdiff, unless you have some other preference, but kdiff, and then browse to your kdiff exe, the one you installed. Same thing with the diff tool. Again, browse to the kdiff and apply. Again, go back to your Git extensions, make sure everything else is green. The other thing you might want to do is SSH client here. Click here, you want to select PuTTY. And for PuTTY to work, you also have to probably install PuTTY here. So just Google PuTTY and download, install that, and make sure the paths are correctly set to do 2 different exes here. Again, double checks. It seems like for my version at least, unless I installed it inside Git extensions, I forget where I installed PuTTY. But maybe it comes with one already, so you don't have to install it. So just check and make sure if you select PuTTY here, this option, apply, go back here, so it must be marked as green here. Then you're good to go. And finally, the language. I guess when you first start it asks you to select the language. In my case, it's English. So it looks like everything else has been configured, so we're good there. I'm gonna cancel this and kind of go over the ones here. So repository is really, like a project in Git that you can create and manage, and then it's gonna allow you to do to basically manage the repository for versioning. So let me show you how this works. So if I were to so I create a folder in my documents here. I wanna, let's say, create a new repository. I'm gonna copy paste that folder path here and then say create. Yeah. It's gonna give you that warning that by default, it doesn't like the folder being pre-created, so maybe you should have given it another folder, but that's okay. And as you noticed, if you go to your folder, it has this .git, which is like a hidden folder, which has the Git repository stuff here. So usually don't touch this. This is automatically managed by your tool. But let's try to do something. Let's add a new text file here. Call it test. Okay, and then this is a test message. Right, save it. Come here, refresh. So now you have one commit. It says, if you click on it, it opens up this page. See, there's a plus sign here. So this is being audited. There's no prior version. So you can just move it down. So this is first files. You have to move it to staging so you can make a commit, and then you can say like, and make a comment saying like, this is a test message, and then commit. So as soon as you commit, you actually have now a line here that's basically all of your historical commits, all of the histories that you made, that basically come as commits here and show you the history. Now, by default, see there's a master. This is called branching. This is we're gonna do a lot of branching in this program, but basically branch is kind of another version of this main repository. And usually that's used when you want, let's say you work on a component in a software project or even a specific task. You might create a branch and work on your task so that your changes are not intermingled with someone else's. So once you complete your assignment, then we'll go through what's called a merge process. But let me show you first the basics. So let's say I changed my mind. I want to add another line here, and then maybe just change this to test 2, save, right? See, now we have another commit. If I come here, this time, see there's a pencil icon here, meaning is a change, not a new file. And it'll show you here the diff. And it's kind of the diff tool that's kind of KDiff provides. And it shows you that we have, it basically deletes this line, right? Adds this line, adds a space, adds another line. So because you could kind of see that it basically shows you all the changes that have been done in the file. So I'm gonna say commit, say test was changed, okay, and then commit, right? So now we have our change, and then if you can always go back to your prior commits or even create branches off of it. Let's say I want to create a new branch here. Let's say, see, I'm selecting the prior commit. Let's say, prior branch. Okay, if I create this branch, now if I close and reopen my text file, you see, this is our first version because I selected another commit, create a new branch off of it. And if you look at now we have 2 branches here from a tree, right? It's like a tree, like a structure. Our master has the latest version. Our prior branch has the older version, right? So what happens when you make another change? Let's say I'm making it another change, another, okay, save it, come here, refresh, you have a commit, I'm gonna say another commit. So let's say in this case I have another branch here, right? But usually we need to do merging, and that would be enough for another video. But in software engineering, there's something called pull request, which is a process used to merge different branches and go through a review process. But in this case, let's say we wanted to manually merge these 2 branches. Let's say I want to get all of this. Let's say this was my, I can also rename this, right? Let's say I want to call this project 1, right? Let's say this was my project assignment. I had to make this change. My master is the main one. So now I've made my changes. I want to basically merge those changes into my master. The way you do that is you select your master and then merge. I want to merge it, say yes. But see, now it's going to give us conflict because the same file was modified, probably the same line in the file was modified. So I say yes, I want to solve the conflicts. I want to merge this, and now this is where KDiff opens up. This is part of KDiff. I'll tell you, hey, this is local, meaning whichever branch you are currently on. This is remote, meaning we are basically, let's close this real quick. So we are merging, let me undo these changes so we'll start over. Yeah, we can like reset file if you made a mistake. See, our current branch is project 1. Let's say I want to go back to master because that's my main one, right? And now in this case, I want to merge my project 1 changes into my main. So I select my project 1, and then I want to say merge into current, which my current is master, right? That's what's been selected. Still gonna give me a conflict. That's fine. Yes, I want to solve the conflict. I want to solve the merge tool. Yeah, the merge tool. And then here I can say It tells you local. Again, local is wherever the current one is. Local is this one, and this is the new one, right? The project one file. So I could say here, what do you want to select? I want to select P, let's say for this line. I don't want to select this one. Or I could have said C. C, this is the outcome. In this case, I'm selecting both of the versions, or maybe I'm just selecting C. Then it's basically just C here, and also my last line from the local. This is the end result, basically. So once you are happy with the result, you can go down to different merges. See, sometimes it automatically selects for you if it's like smart enough to know, hey, this file, this line does not even exist here. So I'm just gonna select this one, and then you can just save. Right. If I save, it's gonna solve the conflict automatically. But I'm not gonna save. Instead, I'm gonna close this, quit without saving. Yeah. I'm gonna show you another way. Let's say you know project one is more up to date one. I don't even wanna select anything from the old one. I wanna select what's in the project one. I could also, without going into merge tool, I could just right click and say choose local, meaning whatever is the current branch, or remote. Let's say in this case I choose remote, right? And see, I'll basically create this commit for you. I can commit now. Basically the file will become whatever was on that project one, which is this line. Yeah. So this is kind of a basic tutorial on merging. We'll do more videos to cover. I guess one other thing I want to show you. So another thing I want to show you. So in this case, we basically created a local repository brand new, right? But most of the time, you will be given access to a repository to clone off of, or basically to create and download the code. So this is called cloning in Git. So if I want to clone something, I'll click on clone. It'll ask me where I want to put it. So in this case, I want to clone this Orchard Core, I guess, CMS project. Again, it's open source project in GitHub. If you go into GitHub and search this, you'll come to this page. It'll show you kind of the README file here. There's the project files, right? Now, under here, code, see under clone, there's like HTTPS URL I can copy. So now if I go back to my Git extension, I can do start clone repository. Again, copy paste the URL here. And then let's say I want to put it in my documents. That's fine. And then I'll go ahead and clone. And this is going to download all the files as well as all the commits for that project, all the branches for that project. So kind of will, once it downloads and selects, it'll basically open up in Git extensions and show me basically the history of this project in Git extensions. Yes, I want to switch to that. See, they have main branch here. See all these different kind of origin, by the way, means remote, or and then local ones like here main doesn't have origin and it's green, right? It means it's like a local branch has not been pushed up yet. So in this case, it'll show me the history of this project, all the commits, right? And if I wanted to work on something, I could just create a new branch off of main, work on that, and so on and so forth, and go to the same commit process. And I'll cover pushing in another video. If you have your own repository, you could directly push with this command. Now, because it's someone else's project, it's not going to allow me to push. And that's why they have what's called pull requests, meaning you have to work on your own branch, and then create a pull request so that other people can review the changes you've done to the project before they allow you to merge it to the main branch here. That's kind of, I'll show more about the pull requests in other videos. That's kind of all I wanted to cover in this video. Again, at the end, you should have everything configured and be able to clone repositories, right? Make commits. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.